rigs. Here's my story on Alabama rig. Probably at least 6 months ago, a buddy of mine, he's like, hey, a buddy of mine's making this thing. He goes, he catches it really good in the wintertime on it. He goes, it's got multiple hooks and this. I'm like, whatever. So he brings me one. And I looked at him, I'm like, you've been smoking. Really? There's no way you're going to throw that thing. And I joked, it's like, But then I started thinking about it. How many watched the Guntersville tournament I won 2 years ago? I think it was a year ago, whatever it was. I mean, that tournament, I had like 5 schools of fish that, I mean, I literally, first day of tournament, I caught at least 200 bass first day. And you catch one on a crankbait, you got one on the front hook, one on the back hook, and there's a school behind it trying to get it out of their mouths. So I started thinking about Guntersville, Kentucky Lake, and get on these crankbait bites, and you just, one after another. Then it's like, oh! I laid in bed and started fantasizing. I mean, they were dirty fantasy. They're really good, but they're all fishing related. Thinking about throwing this Alabama rig out there and jacking 3 to 5 pounders at a time. I was like, oh, I cannot wait for the first tournament that lines up for this tournament. It's not something you're going to throw every day, everywhere. So I had it through the end of the season. We never got on a good bite. We weren't at a good lake at the good time. I was throwing it, and I was catching stripers and white bass and stuff like that. I caught a few bass singles here and there, but never got around a good school of fish at the end of the season to throw it on. But I'm like, just wait. It's coming. It's coming. I'm going to have my moment. And then Paul Elias just screwed my whole world up. He just took my whole fantasy and just stepped on it, squashed it. Because he destroyed the FLW tournament on Lake Guntersville with the Alabama rig. He had 5 Berkeley hollow bellies on there, and he wore them out on a spot that I won the Bassmaster tournament on. And they could not make them things fast enough. So, is the Alabama rig the holy grail of bass fishing? No. But there's a lot of times where fish are competitive. And they're down there seeing one bait, they're used to seeing one lure come by. It gives these fish a different look. Now, we've ever been able to get them before. Outside, we've just, how many of you fished a front runner in front of a spook or a salmon and stuff like that? You give them the second bait choice up there. Double drop shot rig. Ooh, don't talk about a double drop shot. But the Alabama rig, I mean, it looks like a school of fish coming through the water. And once one fish feeds, it ignites them. It's like, did you see him start that in and out line? When that first burger got served, every one of you jumped in line, including me. I still want another double-double, by the way. But bass are no different. When that first fish decides to react and eat a bait, and he's got his homies down there, I'm coming too. And all of a sudden now you got a whole school to think about feeding on. So in a lot of situations, there's fish grouped up, schooled up, and you're gonna be able to catch fish on it. Now, the one thing I've learned about this, there's a lot of different rigs coming out on the market. I mean, they probably all sold out this morning. But this is the one thing I learned, and I don't know why I'm talking about this, because it's a hot topic right now. Everybody was Alabama rig. Well, you got to have the right gear to throw that thing. I'm telling you right now. I found out a little late. I realize now in California, if you got one with 5 hooks, stay away from fishing game, because he's going to go whoosh, slap you on the hand, get a little ticket. 3 hooks, 3 lures. Shouldn't say 3 hooks, 3 lures, so California. But I started having grand fantasies about Clear Lake. I'm like, can you imagine 5 swim baits on that thing? So sure enough, I went up to Clear Lake, and there was I was taking the Lawrence Lawrence trip winner. He wanted a trip to fish with me, buying a Lawrence HDS unit. He flew out, took him up there, and I hadn't been there yet this year. So I got my Alabama rig with 5 6-inch swim baits on there. It's like this. That was not easy to cast, but I never caught one, so. But it looked good in the water. I'm telling you, 5 swim baits coming through the water. Now that was sexy. I'm like, how do you get 5 HUDs on there? You get 5 7-inch Ragos, SKTs. Now that is going to take some work. But here's what I learned about the Alabama rig: is you got to have the right rod to throw it. If you bought one of these things, you don't go throw it on 12-pound tests. How I was taught to throw it from my buddy, who's buddy with, you know, the buddy thing, is 65-pound spider wire. 65-pound spider wire, just for the fact that you've got heavy wire hooks. There's a lot of different concepts, but when you've got 5 and 6/0 hooks on there, 20-pound test fluorocarbon will not do it. 30-pound probably be okay, but to spool a reel with 30-pound trilene 100% fluorocarbon, you're not going to get a long cast, and it's not going to perform well. So braided line is definitely, from what I've seen and what I was taught and how, is all right. So I've been throwing it on the Yellow Saber. How many of you seen these flying around the lake anywhere? Yellow rods. Yeah, there's a couple of them out there. So 7.5-foot flipping stick is what I throw it on. This is the heavy cover rod. 65-pound spider wire. Gear ratio. Biggest thing is, if you're going to fish it and you want to try it, it's no different than any other technique. Look at a crankbait. Do you want a crankbait that runs 6 feet? You're going to swim it 6 feet down. You want to go down 15 feet? Count it down to 15. If you want to throw it, where was the last place I was throwing it? Oh, yeah. We had a little event last week down in Del Rio, Texas. Major League Fishing event. I threw it down there, and I throw it out in let it sink down to 45 foot of water. Start slow rolling it. Boom. That's as much as I'm going to give you on Major League Fishing, but it's a tool, it's a technique, but you got to make sure you got the right line. So if you bought one of these things and you're going to go out there and you're going to throw 5-inch hollow bellies on it, 20-pound test does not cut it. Here's another little tip. If you're going to throw a hollow belly on it, don't fish a swim bait hook, like a offset hook. They'll tear off all the time. Put them on a jig head. 1/8 ounce to 1/4 ounce jig head. It's going to perform a lot better for you.